Seems to. She's not talking. Don't. That's introduce me now. Let me start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this class. Today, we are going into the real thing, which is prompting. And I will soon share my screen. So welcome to this class, which is prompt engineering. And please, I want everyone to have done their assignments. If you have done your assignment, please indicate in the comment section. My name remains Edoga Alvachopodi, and I'm the one taking you today on prompt engineering in the AI filmmaking masterclass. Remember, this program is done with the support of the it's implemented by the IDS project, which is a project under the Federal Ministry of Education with support from the World Bank. So we welcome everyone, right? If you have done your assignments, please let us know in the comment section. Just say if you have done that and how has been your experience. You could also go to the comment section and tell us how your experience has been. We want to gladly hear that. So I want you to know what's your experience? How did you feel? How did you encounter any difficulty? And what are the things you noticed while using AI to write your script? Remember last time what we discussed is on how to use AI to write your scripts. And it's quite a beautiful job seeing how AI can help you create and write your scripts, right? Okay. Now let's move on. I'm sharing my screen now. Okay. So let's move on to prompting. Okay. So welcome to this class, which is we're discussing prompt engineering. So present mode, presentation mode, so that we can start sailing, right? Today we'll be discussing the prompt engineering. Everything we have done all this while is a build-up to this class. We have done the introduction, we have done the using AI to write scripts and all that. But today we are looking all the way towards how we can do what? Create those videos and write better prompts creating those videos. Okay, so let's move on. Today we are looking at prompt engineering for what? Cinematic AI videos, right? Remember, this is still part of the TVET Creative Media Programme, and it is a program under the IDS project and run by Digital Dreams with support from the World Bank. So let's move on. Okay. Most people use AI are just typing random prompts, right? Some of you are just typing random prompts, but the top 1% are directing AI like filmmakers, right? That is why their result looks cinematic, and the approach to achieving high quality output, right, is consistent. You need to have a prompt that is clear, specific, structured, and intuitive, right? You need to be able to describe what you want, then refine it with references, constraints, and testing to get exactly what you want. And in today's class, we are going to look at all of this and see how we can make our prompts to generate cinematic AI video. I'm going to rush through today's theory session because this class will be divided into two. Where in the first session, I'm going to explain prompt engineering and everything you need to know. Then on the second section of today's class, I am going to dive into the practical immediately to create a cinematic video, right? So we will actually see. So you watch me do it live on this class and we'll create the workflow. I'll look at the scripts and find the scripts, right? And show you how we can play around with the script to generate it. And I'll also show you how to use AI to write prompts. So one of the good things about AI is that you can also use AI to write prompts. So you'll be able to see all that. So let's move on. We're going to move on quickly so that we can finish the first section of this class and move on to the practical. I know most of you are waiting for me in the practical section, but I will bet you, please take your time to follow me because most of the things we are doing here in the theory part where we are explaining things will help you understand control the intent. Don't just make something cool. There's no intent. It's broad. It's not specific. You define what you want to be made and why. The next is that you need to be able to set constraints, right? Those constraints help shape the style, the composition, format, and what to avoid instead of leaving the model to guess. So you must set constraints for the model, any model you're using. And you need to also learn how to iterate like a director, right? You need to test, refine, and compare versions, then improve through structured repetition. So you should also understand that repetition is part of what you do while prompting, right? Now, we are having this understanding, right, about how things are meant to be done, leads us towards understanding what is prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is the craft of giving an AI model instruction that reliably produces the output you want. Effective prompting relies on clear instructions, relevant context, explicit output expectation, and what? Iteration. Iteration is what? Repetition, right? You need to look and refine those your prompts to give you exactly what you want, right? And it is important we know this and we have this in mind. Very good prompts doesn't just come in well refined, right? They come in after thorough repetition. In filmmaking, prompting is not casual act. It is the creative direction translated into what? Language. You must understand that is what? It is the creative direction translated what? Into language. Remember, we have always said that you should look at AI as your assistant. If you are looking at AI as your assistant, you will understand that if you give clear instructions to your assistant, your assistant will be able to deliver. But if you give ambiguous instructions, your clients might find it difficult to deliver. So look at it as your collaborator. So your prompt engineering is the ability to give clear instruction to your collaborator or your assistant, right? Which is now the AI. So let's move on. So why does prompt matters across pipeline? It matters because from story to scripts, you might need prompts to shape your ideation, scripts, themes, dialogue, and beat sheets. So you must know how to write each prompt to do that. In the last lesson, we showed how you could actually write prompts to help you generate ideas, from ideas to scripts. So this is part of what you did the last time, right? Now, it also can be used for visual development. They guide character design, concept art, environment, and what? Storyboard. So you must know you can do, generate your character. Also, they influence video generation, voice and sound, right? Design, then the marketing visuals. So you must also know how to use prompt to do this. So it matters. So you could see across the production pipeline, there is prompt, right? So it is one of the quality skills you must know how to do that. So prompt quality affects story, image, video, audio, and design generation, right? Human intentions must survive what? Machine interpretation. So it is important we look at like that. Now, let's look at prompt engineering versus casual access. We are not asking the AI casually. Please understand that it's not a casual asking. It is prompting. One of the things about casual asking is what? Vague requests. And vague requests leave story, framing, mood, and quality to chance. The result is often what? Generic. But if you have to do prompt engineering, you must clarify your intent. You must add context and use case, define constraints, specify output formats, and build iteration into process. So structured prompts produce stronger results because they reduce ambiguity and direct the model towards usable creative targets. It is quite important we understand this, right? Because we need to make sure that our prompt is prompting, as they say in Nigerian Palace, right? Is a prompt prompting, or right? Is a dancing, right? So your prompts should be good enough to generate the desired output. Okay. So moving on. Now, this is the core mental model, right? You need to for a very strong prompt. A good prompt consists of 5 essential parts. The goal, define the desired results. Here you are saying generate a cinematic picture, generate a video, or whatsoever. The context, provide the background and intent, right? The next, you write what? Limit the constraints, list limits and rules. Then the input details, you supply the examples and data for references. Then you now supply the output instruction, you specify what? The format and style, right? So a good prompt consists of 5 essential parts: the goal, context, constraints, input details, and output what? Instructions. These elements are fundamental to achieving clear scene definition, precise subject details, effective motion description, and consistent stylistic control. Let's move on. Now, if we are going to explain the 5 parts, the goal is what we want to be made. The context is the background, the audience, and the use case. The constraint is the length, the tone, the format, the style, and what to avoid. The subject, the setting, the camera lighting, the motion, and the mood. Then the output instructions is the exact structure of the response or asset you want to be produced, right? So understanding this is key for strong prompts. Now, let's look at an universal formula for writing prompt plus formula for writing prompt plus subjects plus environment plus style, technical constraints plus negative constraints. These are the things to combine. So you use this for almost anything. It combines what you want, where it happens, how almost anything. It combines what you want, where it happens, how it should feel, and what to avoid. This provides the level of specificity in studio, practical monitors glow, shallow depth of view, 50 mm lens, lighting, low-key lighting, realistic skin texture, subtle film grain, centered composition, dark teal and warm amber palettes, no text, no watermark, no extra finger. You could see the no text, no watermark, no extra finger is what we are supplying to give what constraints to the AI model. And you could see that this portrait is what it generates in the right-hand side of the left-hand side of the image, right? So you can see this is the prompt that created this. This is an example of a good prompt. The task is to create a moody cinematic portrait. The subject is a Nigerian filmmaker. The environment is the dim editing studio with practical glow light, right? The style is shallow depth of view with 50mm lens, low key, realistic texture, right? The composition is centered composition. The technical constraints are dark tail and one amber palette. No, and negative constraints is no text, no watermark, no extra thing. Now, in prompting for cinematic AI and image generation, there are different frameworks that actually work. And here we're going to teach you the different framework, right? Because right now, you're not just writing prompts for nothing. You are writing it to generate cinematic shots and cinematic videos. Now, the first one is the director's brief, right? The next one is the short card, and the third one is the few short anchoring. This framework helps creators move from instinctive prompting to repeatable direction. Each solves a different creative problem. So let's dive into it. Let's look at the director's brief framework. The director's brief framework is the foundational framework for image and video generation. You are going to be prompting like the director of a movie. It structures the prompts around the subject, setting, action, mood, lighting, camera or lens, color palette, style reference, and constraints to ensure precise creative control. Example, right? A tired final year student in Enugu sits alone in a small room at night, studying for JAMB by phone flash during power outage. Quiet determination, soft lighting from the phone, deep shadows, 35mm lens, handheld realism, muted green tungsten tone, and what? Photorealistic, no fantasy elements, no extra object. You could see that that's the image that was generated, right? Okay. Now you understand that's the image that was generated, right? You could see that it provides you the what? The subject, the setting, the action, the mood, the lighting, the camera, and the lens, the color palette, the style reference, and the constraint, right? Okay. So moving forward, we could look at what we call the short card framework. The short card framework is best for cinematic control. Use short type, framing, camera angle, camera movements, subject action, emotional purpose, and duration or pacing. Now let's take the other one. A medium close-up, eye-level, slow push-in. A mother watches her son. Remember, it's telling you how the camera is moving. Medium close-up, eye-level, slow push-in. A mother watches her son practicing what? CBT question on a cracked phone. Her expression shifts from worry to relief. Emotional purpose, hope replacing fear. Natural window lighting, realistic interior, 24 frames per second cinematic motion. You could see the shortcut framework is best for videos that has what motion for perspective, for effective promptable camera moves and cinematic shot language. So it works best for what? A scene that will use camera move and cinematic shot shots to achieve what it wants to achieve. Okay. Now let's look at the few shot anchoring framework, right? Here is that you use examples, right? Examples ensure consistent formatting and predictable behavior in the model output. Right? You use examples, you show the pattern, you provide a few lines that demonstrate the desired to structures and boundaries, and you do what? Your constraint output. You set specific limits such as word count, target audience, and exclusion, right? Example, write 5 hook lines for jam ads. Styles, example, you are feeling jammed, right? Because you are dull. You are failing because you are not practicing like the real exams. Stop reading only. Start training your skill. Keep each line under 15 words. Strong, urgent, student focus, no hashtag. So you could see, if you are using the few short style, it will generate the content that will form the basis for your next shot. And the beautiful part here I also tell you is that in prompting, you could also use AI to create prompts. And you will see me do that as well. All right, let's look at types of prompts for storytelling. Right? Now, in storytelling, prompts covers the full creative arc from the idea generation to evaluation. The stronger creators know which prompt type that fits the stage. So at this class, we are trying to teach you the different prompt styles and which one fits each individual need you will have in your production process. Okay. Now, moving on to the types of prompts. The first is what? Writing prompts for character. Now, if you are writing prompts for character, your character prompt should cover age, look, wardrobe, body language, personality, and emotion. You should also have the backstory clues that can shape visual design. Strong prompts also specify facial expression, posture, gesture, realistic versus stylized treatments, costume and accessory control, then also emotional variation of the character you are describing, right? Also, when you are prompting for character, you need to avoid stereotype-heavy description and use consistency anchors when the same person appears multiple assets. So if you are going to create 10 images of the same character, you need to use what? Add consistency what? Anchors. Now, you could also be writing prompts for scenes, right? Scenes prompts work best when they define one dramatic moment clearly. Remember, most things are 10 seconds to or 5 seconds or 10 seconds. They should specify scene geography and staging, include foreground and midground and background. You can prompt tension, fear, romance, suspense, or awe, and write specifically for dialogue scenes, reviews, chase scenes, dream sequence, flashback, and montages, right? The goal here, if you're writing prompts for scenes, is to make prompts visual and filmable rather than literal. So you must make sure that you are writing prompts that will be what? Filmable. Another types of prompt is writing prompt for what? Environment. Environment prompts should define location type, physical setting, historical and cultural details, weather, atmosphere, time of day, seasonal cues. They can also signal what? Genre-specific design and environment. So, example for African and Nigerian stories, localization matters. And using location anchors also help maintain continuity. So remember we talked about character anchors. We are also saying that if you're going to generate across multiple scenes, you also use location anchors to make sure that the location remains consistent, especially when the same place appears in your concept clips. This is quite important. Now, let's look at common prompting mistake. One of the common prompting mistake is being too vague, right? Weak prompts leave the subject, mood, and quality undefined. Then another prompting mistake is too conflicted, stacking instructions that fight against each other. So you say generate, in one line, you say generate a scene where the character is wearing a black shirt. And then in the next line, you are saying, make sure that this white shirt is not stained. You could see that you are conflicting it because in the first line, you are talking about black shirts, and the next line, you are talking about white shirts. So which one will you want the model to generate, the black shirt or the white shirt? So it is quite important, right? Then the next thing is no composition. You ignoring framing and shot design leads to generic visuals. You must add your framing and your shot design unless you have generic framing. Then also no iteration. When you are trying to solve everything in one giant prompt. Please, when you write a prompt and it generates a result, you can iterate on that and refine it to generate better results. Don't attempt writing prompts that one prompt will solve every of your visual needs. It doesn't work most of the time. Now, let's look at bad prompts versus better prompts. So, like a bad prompt is make a beautiful video of a girl in a village. This is a very bad prompt. But a good prompt would be like a wild cinematic shot of a young Igbo girl walking through a misty village path at dawn. Clay huts in the background, soft golden sunrise, slow dolly forward, calm reflective mood, realistic costume textures, 24 frames per second film loop, subtle dust in the air, no modern objects, no text. This beta version defines shot size, subject, place and time, movement, mood, texture, and what? The exclusions. Now, also, you could optimize prompts for better words, visuals. You could diagnose weak results and identify what is missing or what is ambiguous. And then you rewrite, you reduce ambiguity and use constraints more effectively. Then you do your A and B test prompt versions to compare realism, stylization, or output formats. Then know your limits. Sometimes the limitation is the model, not the prompt. You must know when you have reached the limits of the model you are using. So sometimes the limitation is not you. The limitation might be the model you are using. Okay. Okay, let's move on. How do you control the style, mood, and tone is also quite important, right? So you control it by what you control what the image looks like visually, right? The mood, what the scene feels emotionally, and the tone. Now, your prompting can target noir, the fantasy, thrillers, commercial, documentary realism, or retro sci-fi look. You could choose any of these two and have a color palette that with contrast, texture, and a project-wide visual bible that will help get aligned story with what's intention, right? So when you are prompting, you could add all these constraints. Now let's look at the different camera language in prompting engineering, because you see, when we say medium shot, wide shot, if you don't know how to use these ones, you will create very bad prompts. So mastering camera moves and shot language, such as dolly, pan, and various framing techniques, is essential for precise visual storytelling, right? You need to be able to define the camera intent, and this is quite important. Now, and the camera intent we are describing is the shot size, the angle, the movement, and the lens and composition, right? Example, the shot size, right, helps extreme wide to extreme close-up shots, changes scale, intimacy, and narrative focus. We showed you the different shot sizes in the last class. Then angle, is it eye level, low angle, high angle, overhead or Dutch angle? This alters the power and the tension. Then the movement of the camera, is it panning? Is it tilting? Is it dolly? Is it crane? Is it handheld? Is it tracking? Is it pushing in? Or is it orbiting to add momentum to position, right? The depth of field, the framing, and the composition control, right? So you must decide all these, the camera choices, right? So and in defining the camera choices, you must know what this is. You must know what shot size is, the angle. In the last class, we defined this. We helped you show you all the different shot sizes. So yeah, you understand the language of prompt clearly. Now, in lighting prompts, if you are doing lighting and color prompts, you need to define if it's natural. And some of the things you say is golden hour, blue hour, is moonlight, daylight realism, right? Or is it artificial, practical light, neon, candlelight, or controlled interior? Now, you also need to define the color of the scene, the color temperature, the palette, and the atmosphere. Then the quality, is it soft versus hard light? The key versus no key, right? The lighting language. So this is teaching you also the lighting language. So we have looked at the camera language in the last slide. We are teaching you the lighting language. Right? Now, the lighting language also defines the presence of fog, moonlight, candlelight, neon, or other atmospheric effect. And it is central to your emotional control. Now, one of the things you must know that in prompting is that you must think like an artwork director, the editing workflow. You need to be treating AI as a tool for creating mood board, your storyboard, your concept, right? Not, it is you that is the art director, not the AI. It is a tool. Always use that. So you must know the subject, who and what matters the most, the setting, where the scene lives, the composition, how the frame is arranged, the lighting and the lens, how it feels optically and emotionally. So as the art director, these are the things you must ask yourself and you must know, right? And in doing that, let's look at the hierarchy of a good image prompt. Remember, we have discussed prompting for character, right? Let's look at prompting for the environment, where your image prompt. Use this order: the subject, the setting, the pose or action, the composition, lighting, lens, style, quality constraints, and negative prompts. An example is a photorealistic medium shot of a young African phone repair technician seated inside a small kiosk, bent over a cracked smartphone on an old scratch wooden table. Repair tools scattered around, dim fluorescent light mixed with warm daylight spill, 50 mm lens fill, shallow depth of field, gritty realism, subtle sweat on skin, cinematic color separation, no text, no watermark, no duplicate tools, no distorted hand. If you remember this image, right, you will remember, if you have followed us in the last class, we tried to create the image of a phone repairman based on the story we were working on the last class. I just modified the prompts here so that you can see what a detailed image it will generate. And that's the prompt. That's the image that it generated on the left. So you could see how it works, right? Okay, let's look at also, we have looked at so many other patterns, but let's look at the negative prompting. If you look at the last slide, you notice that we talked about negative prompting. We have also talked about negative prompt. But what is negative prompt, right? Negative prompt is the type of prompt that tells the AI model what to avoid. The purpose is to tell the model what to avoid. The typical use is that it helps to make sure that the AI avoid anatomy errors, unwanted text, extra limbs, modern objects in period scenes, or oversaturated style drifts. Useful negatives include no text, no watermark, no extra finger, no duplicate face, no low details, no modern props, no cartoon looks, no oversaturated colors, right? While implementation vary, the concept of negative prompting is universal. So it doesn't matter the model you are using. The concept of negative prompting is universal. Okay, let's move on. Let's look at the workflow, image workflows professional use, right? Now, what can be your workflow so that you understand how to go about it. So now you know your prompts. Which workflow should you use? Now, your workflow is going to use strong composition, intentional lens fill, motivated lighting, restrained palette, and physical texture. You must combine all this if you are going to create a very, very good cinematic image, right? And in creating cinematic image, we always land to one problem, which is consistency. Now, we discussed consistency the last class, but we are going to dive down because we're now writing prompts now, right? We want to make sure that we have prompts that can create consistent designs. So consistency across face, wardrobe, props, and locate lighting is the hardest production challenge in generative work, right? But one of the things we could do is to build, first of all, is a character Bible, right? Character Bible is where you define all the features of your characters that you want to show. Then you can also know how to reuse anchor description, right? And another thing to do is to generate reference tales first. So generate the pictures first as references, and you now use those references for generating other poses. So assuming I want to have a picture of a girl walking, I can generate the picture of the girl first, the portrait of her. Then after that, I can now use that same image to say, pose the girl walking, make her jump the sky, jump the fence, and all those ones. Then you also have to learn how to keep wardrobe and palette fixed, right? And know how to use repeat recurring details. Consistency is always one of the biggest problems. Example of a character anchor is Emeka, 24, lean frame, bloodshot eyes, orange singlet, right? Torn jeans, thick chain pendant, leather bracelet, home repair kiosk, right? Now, this is the palette of I'm defining Emeka. So at any point in time I need to define Emeka, I take this prompt and put in my AI model. Now, and you use this exact anchor in every related prompt. Because consistency improves when your current details stay fixed across prompts, right? So it's quite important. Then you also have to know how to do your prompt chaining. So you do prompt for your ideas and concepts. You create you do prompt for your concept to character. You do prompt for character to storyboard, and you do prompt for storyboard to video. This is how it works. Ideas, concept, it has its own prompts, which we taught you in the last class. Then concept to character, we also taught you that. The character to storyboard. What we are going to be doing henceforth is from the image to video, because last class we also generated images. Okay, now here is a practical exercise we could do, right? Right? And I want you guys to do that in the comment section of the chat box while I drink water, right? So a minute, go to the comment section and write a prompt for one character, one location, and one dramatic moment. Like example, Emeka, 24, right? Sitting in Enugu and repairing a phone. That's a dramatic moment. The character is Emeka, the location is the kiosk in Enugu, right? Let's see. I will read out some of your prompts, right? I want to see how you guys, the prompts, what you have generated. So please go over to your comment section if you are using Zoom, and also if you are also using YouTube live stream. You can go over to the comment section and write your comments. We'll read out some of your prompts here. So let me see if some of you have been able to write some prompts. Okay. 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 Let's see why I drink water. Let's see if your prompts keep coming. I'll read out like 3 to 4 prompts that you guys sent. So that we can continue. If you're also on YouTube live stream, you could also write your prompts on YouTube. Okay. I'm not seeing your prompts. Okay, can I have the first prompts? Write your prompt in the comment section for one character. Add a prompt for one character location, so that I want to be able to see if you guys understand what are they. 70. I'm seeing some prompts here. Ehiobu Taye said, are they a 70-year-old boy who lives in London? London is, you could see, that's why I wanted you to write your prompts. Ade is a 70-year-old boy who lives in London. What is the dramatic moment? London is too broad, right? He needs to be able to, you need to be able to define the room, the location he is. You can't just say London, right? You say Ade is a 70-year-old boy. How does Ade look? And what is Ade doing? You see, I hope you could see that is a poor prompt. Then Ezra is saying Musa, a 30-year-old copper who moved to Onitsha newly. How can the AI model create mood to Onitsha newly? How does he know that? Onitsha is also a very big location. You must be able to specify how the room looks like or where he is in Enugu. If you are saying in a computer repair shop in Enugu, the AI will know is going to generate the same character inside a computer repair shop. It can't generate it in Onitsha. Mary 20 in Lagos trying to purchase again from a food seller in the market. How does the market look? How does Mary look? You could see how all these things work. Paul Oyiloye is giving that. Mary 20 in Lagos, they're trying to purchase. How does Mary look? You must be descriptive of your character. Shine Norma 85 said, check at 38, slim body, fair, taking her fish in Ubeni. Right? I like how you describe the character. 38, slim body, fair, taking care of her fishes in Ubeni. But you have not described the location. Her fish is in Ubeni. The AI model does not know Ubeni. So you must define how the location is. Med with Kemi says, Amara, a practicing I take a practicing nurse, 28, who is the impatient stand attending to a woman. You have not described the location. So you could see that that's an issue. So you can see why I'm taking your distance. I may read another prompt. Okay. Is it Chukwu from Apani case, Enugu State? A digital communication analyst, seen by Odo Anthony Izichukwu. You did not describe it well. Are there an African female dancing under the rain while there was thunderstrike and lightning? I like that, but you don't need to define how that is. It's just a female dancer. You not create. That was written by other Akadori. Timothy Chikube said, Adana 16 Enugu selling bean cake. There is no way we will understand that, right? Okay. So you see, Ebimobere Atima Perez says, where a 50-year-old young girl in a small village in a riverine area fishing. Is she fishing? It's even confusing for me as a human. Okay. Ahmad Mohammed Sani said, medium shot of a 17-year-old Nigerian boy, Chidi, lean build, wearing school clothing, one backpack, holding a cheap smartphone, standing outside a locked school gate, early morning light, eye-level camera, 50mm lens, natural lighting, slightly tense posture, realistic style, cinematic tone, no extra people, no distortion. This is a perfect prompt, but it seems like you use AI to create it, right? If you use AI to create it, you can tell me yes, right? But because I'm wondering if you typed all these things within this short time, I know you must have used AI to create the prompts. It is also good, right? But admit that you did that if that's what you did, right? Then Chimwanya Okona is saying Regina 22, tall and slender, long braid hair, wearing a fitted trouser with a crop top, dark skin, standing by the side of the road, hailing for a cab at New Haven. Wow, that's another beautiful prompt, right? Victor Ogujefor is saying Jennifer 24, a blonde-haired and fit young lady is sitting at her desk in a neat arranged bedroom. Fine, another good prompt, right? Oh, this one is writing a very long thing. He must have generated with AI. Hold on, okay, I think I've. Then TechnoSpark 40, Abubakar Ahmad living in Kaduna. That's a bad prompt. Black said, can I, a 27-year-old man, black in complexion, tall and slender, counting his money at the money exchange shop in Onitsha main market. Okay, but you did not describe the environment. As I said, a Musa, a young man, fair in complexion, 5 feet tall, moved to Onitsha as a medical doctor. There is no way you can't feel moved to Onitsha. Then what is he doing? Is he moving to Onitsha or moved? Remember, you are describing past. You can't be prompting for past. You can't say moved to Onitsha. How will AI know if he moved to Onitsha? Okay, Mohammed Sani is admitted that he did it with AI. Okay, that's not bad. I don't think we are penalizing anybody for doing that, because you could still use AI to generate such prompt, right? But you must be the director. You must know what you want. Then Saak Fanem Joshua said, John is a 70-year-old young boy who is fair, tall, handsome, and very smart. He sells at modern markets. Even at that, he's trying to help the poor with little. So you are telling a story, you are not writing a prompt. Saak Fanem Joshua. Write a prompt, not a story. If you say he's selling fish, you describe how the environment is. That is what we want to. If you say he's helping the poor, you describe how he's helping the poor, right? Then Hansen is saying Akan is 2020, working in a mechanic shop in a village setting with a mud house, few blocks house, sitting and thinking about a hard day. That's a good prompt. I think a hope is rewriting her prompt. Are they 70-year-old fat and first in compression, wearing shirt and brown trousers. He lives in one room where there's only one bed and a wooden table and chair by the side of the window. Okay, we could see that. Talbert Tobechukwu is saying, Emeka, a 20-year-old boy who lives in Enugu in a local environment, dark skinned and tall, purchasing books in a local shop and looking confused with a white shirt and short trouser. Okay, I think we have. I think you guys have commented on your prompts enough, so we can move on. So that why I'm doing that is so that I can criticize the prompt. You can actually see where you can make amends, right? As you write your prompts. Okay, let's move on. I want to move in speed, right? Now let's move to. We have talked about prompt engineering. Let's move to AI, video creation generation, because that's exactly what we are going to do. The bulk of what we are going to do today is AI video generation. The objective is to create a film scene using AI video tools, right? And in this model, we will shift from still images prompting to moving image direction, where camera, motion, behaviors, timing, and shot evolution becomes central, right? So let's have an overview of AI video generators, right? Modern AI video generation represents significant step towards high fidelity, consistency, and motion. Advanced system now have emphasis on text to video, image to video prompting, and around cinematic camera behaviors, while integrating multiple image, video, and audio, right? The very first part there is cinematic generators, right? The next one is animation generators, useful for motion styling. You could also use it to create cinematic video. Another type is you can also use it to generate animation. And that one is the talking avatar and art tools. We have already done the talking avatar, right? In our first class, that was the assignment, right? And you guys generated some ample number of talking avatars, right? But moving on, let's look at the flow. You start with the script, right? You start with the story intent and the short what concept. The next thing we are going to see is the workflow, the end-to-end workflow of AI video generation. Now, the next one, you do your prompt, you translate the shot into a controlled what instruction set. Then you generate what the clip, right? Either from text or from your reference images. Then you extend, combine, and organize the shots for in your post-production. This is how you do it. First is the script, second is the prompt, third is the clip, fourth is your revise and combine all of them. So this is the workflow you are going to follow. And we are going to use this workflow to generate an ad for Link School this thing. We'll generate it and publish it. So you will see me follow it. Now, for you to do cinematic prompting, you need to define also you need to be acting like what? A director, not what? A novelist. That is what we always tell people. So you say, what are you seeing? Right? What are we seeing? What is moving? How is the camera moving? How does the shot evolve? And what stays what? Consistent. You must be able to define all this, right? What you are seeing, what is moving, how the camera is moving, how does the shot evolve, and what stays what? Consistent. Once you have all this and you put it in your prompt, you are ready to go. And you will see me do this. It's not magic. One of the things we wanted to show you in this class is that none of these things are magic, right? All of these things are easy to achieve if you understand it clearly. And it's that understanding that we are pushing in this class. Okay. Now let's look at bad versus good prompts for video prompts. A bad video prompt look like a magical and emotional scene of hope and destiny. This will generate nonsense for you if you do that prompt. A wide shot at sunrise, a teenage student stands outside a closed exam center, clutching an old backpack. The wind lifts dust across the compound. Camera slowly dollies in from behind as he looks up at the gates. The mood shifts from anxiety to resolve. Natural golden light, realistic Nigerian school setting, no fantasy element. You could see how a good video prompt looks like. It defines the shots, the type of shot is a wide shot at sunrise. The subject, which is we are seeing the student standing outside a closed exam center, clutching an old backpack. What is moving? The wind lifts dust across the compound. How is the camera moving? Camera is slowly dollying in from behind as he looks up at the gates, right? Remember, that means the person is looking up at the gates. What's the mood? The mood shifts from anxiety to resolve. And how is it shot? The natural golden light and realistic school setting, no fantasy elements. This is what a good prompt looks like. Now, let's look at the 5 layers of the cinematic video prompts. The scene, who, where, and what, the motion, the character, the plot, the prop, the environment. The camera, is it statically held? Is it handheld? Is it panning? Is it tilting? Is it dollying? Is it orbiting? Then what is the mood? Is it the triumphant, fear, documentary, romance, technical? How does it feel? The lens, the realism, the aspect ratio. These are all the things you can bring in. Now, where do you use text to video versus image to video, right? Now, these are 2 ways you can generate videos, right? So the key principle is simple. When using image to video, the image already defines the composition, the subject, and the style. the prompt should focus more on what motion over time than on describing everything. When you're using image to what video, the composition is already set by the image. So you only define what is moving, right, and the motion, right, over time. You don't need to start describing the scene again. But so like if you are doing image to video prompts, like let's take the picture of the girl with the pot. The girl slowly turns her head towards the camera as the wind leaves the edge of her wrapper. The pot beside her trembles slightly. Camera performs a subtle, slow pushing. The background leaves sway gently, calm but ominous atmosphere. This kind of prompt works because it focuses on the motion, the timing, and the shot evolution rather than restarting the whole visual scene. Remember, you could see I did not define the visual scene. I only define what is going to happen in the image. Right? And one of the things you need to be clear while writing creating prompts is you write for motion, you write one clear action, right? Right? Describe one action at a time to reduce confusion. Don't say this one do the other one, do the other one. 10 different actions in one. Then describe the pacing, the evolution over time. Is the camera moving slowly and things like that? Then you generate alternates, create alternate version of the same shot. When we say generate alternate means that you can have the beginning and the ending. You will see us do this very well in this class. The beginning and the ending, that is alternate. So we show the beginning and we write the points for the ending. That is the alternate, right? Of the same shot, right? So the same shot, the beginning and the ending, then you can now do a description. You will see us do it a whole lot in this class, right? Also, these are the controlling motions. These are the things you control. You do the subject motion, right? Right? You pump the human motion with realism. You do the environment motion, rain, smoke, cloud movement, and life. Then you do the reference image, right? That is the anchored motion. You set up a reference image, which can be the ending image, right? As your anchor motion on how it's going to work. So in prompting, you have to prompt for the subject, the environment, and your anchored motion. Then also, we need to understand the cinematic camera language. We have been hammering on this. There is no way you can create cinematic looking scenes without understanding the cinematic camera language. Okay. You need to master the terminology, the wide shot, over the shoulder shot, and things like that. Example, over the shoulder, medium shot, the student taps to the CBT questions on a phone. Camera slowly push in. You can see that camera pushing in is a cinematic language, camera language. As the score rises, soft daylight from the left window, documentary realism, quiet, triumphant mood. You could see how we have defined this prompt using cinematic camera language. Then you must also know how to use your prompt to control angles, framing, and lighting in the video. You prompt the shot size and angle, choose stable or handheld field, define perspective. Then you also protect continuity, maintain cinematic continuity, balance natural light and cinematic light, then control night scenes and exposure and contrast. These are all the things you should be able to do to create a cinematic video. Now, also, one of the things you must understand is that in this thing, you must know how to generate multiple shots for a scene. A scene is not just one shot. You might have an establishing shot, right, which shows the geography and the world, a medium shot, right, that captures the action and performance, a close-up that captures emotion, right? And you must also know how to maintain visual consistency. Your character consistency must be stable, right? You keep the face and performance stable. We have talked about that. The costume and props must be the same, consistent. Your location and light must be what? Consistent. And you could also reuse prompt anchors. It is always important. Prompt anchors, reference image, and short naming is important. Okay. Now, we have looked at how to prompt for consistency, how to prompt for camera and camera languages, but how do you prompt for emotion, for action, how the actions of the performance of the characters, right? The acting, how do you prompt for it, right? So performance prompt works better when it describes observable what behaviors than vague emotional labels. If you want someone to act in your prompt, you write it will be weak to say she's scared, angry, right? Or she's scared, she's angry, she's crying, running, smiling, or confused. No. A strong prompt might look like she freezes when she hears a footstep behind her. Her breathing becomes shallow. She turns slowly, trying not to make a sound. You could see, looking at the picture on the left, you could see nobody needs to tell you that she's scared. But you don't just go and write the prompt that she's scared. You describe what the camera is seeing and the emotion you want to see on the screen. Also, another important prompt you must be aware of is what we call the audio aware prompt. Now, in the modern creative workflow, the generative AIs can generate dialogue right now. So that's a very huge improvement, right? So you have integrated sound intent, and strong prompting can include what? Dialogue delivery, ambient sound, and silence cues where, where the AI tool you are using supports it. One of the things we have to also say is that not every AI tool support this, right? Right? So integrating all this in your workflow helps, but for a better video and audio language. So example of a prompt, an audio-aware prompt is, the woman whispers, don't touch that phone. Her voice is low and urgent. In the background, page generator hum and distant street dogs, slow pushing, low light realism. So you could see how that works, right? It is aware of the sound of the audio in the scene. Okay. Now, after you have generated all these prompts, the next thing you're going to do is to do what? Do the editing and assembling of your AI output, right? You will see us generate all those things in this class. And in the next class, I will also show you how to arrange them in the proper folders so that it's not scattered. You need to review and check clips for quality and continuity. Select the best takes and trim for pace. Need to blend them, use the clips and insert and mix them to have your live action sequence. Then finish by adding sound, subtitle, music, pacing, and color words continuity. These are the different things you can do to get this thing done, right? So let's look at what common problems in AI video generation. The first one is character drift. The character will be moving unnaturally. The next one is inconsistent faces. The faces will look like this in the scene one, and in scene two it will change. Then object morphing. Sometimes you see a cup will now morph into a phone, right? Next one is broken anatomy. You just see that the anatomy of a human being with 6 legs or 5 legs or 5 legs or 6 fingers, it won't work. Then unstable background, you will now see sometimes the background might change unnaturally, right? Natural motion, right? So you can see a motion of your character will now be unnatural. That is also might be a problem. Then poor lighting continuity, you see the lighting change. Generic visual language, while it doesn't work, then shot mismatch, where the shots doesn't match. then under specified or overloaded prompts, where someone overloaded prompts and the AI doesn't get confused and doesn't even know what to do next. Okay, having looked at the problem, let's look at how to solve some of them. First of all, is use image tools to generate it, right? Most of the time, we advocate for you to do text to video. It's always very complicated. Do text to image so that you can look at the image and specify the image you like. Then you now do image to video, right? The only time you use text to video is if you want to do rapid exploration of your ideas, right? You can use text to video. Then almost always know how to use structured prompts, right? We have shown you how to use structured prompts where you have this plus this plus this plus this plus this plus this to get to what we want. Okay. Okay, fine. I think these are practical exercises we will take next, which is green establishing shots, medium action shots, close up emotional shots. Okay. Now, I think we'll come back to this. I think I want to go straight into the practical, right? After we can take, so this, I'll take it from here, right? And after we can now come back to this slide. And I'll show you what I want to do. Now, I want to make this, I'll do the setup so that this is the script we want to create. I want to make it large font size for presenting so that everybody can see it clearly. Okay. So I'm going to present this. Okay. Now, this is the script. I'm going to do a 5 minutes, a 1 minute advert for Link School TVET. And the script is here. So we are doing a cinematic short form ad script for Link School TVET designed to stop scrolling, spark emotion, and drive downloads. This is our what do you want to remember? Our goal is to what? Do this short form ad for Link School TVET, and it's designed to stop the scroll, spark emotion, and drive downloads. And this is the script. You have the scene 1, which is the frustration, the opening hook, right? Then the scene 2, the emotional break, right? The scene 3, the pattern interrupts, the transformation and the solution, right? The power moment, right? So here we will do a whole lot of work on this. So let's start with the scene 1. And you see me do all these things, right? It's a dim, rusty, old painted room. A flickering table lamp struggles to stay on. A female student, 1822, sits at a one desk surrounded by scattered books. Suddenly, she violently flings her books, paper and pen into the air. You can see this is the description, right? This is the script, right? Is a dim lighted, rusty old painted room. A flickered table lamp struggle to stay on, right? I'm going to go to flow and generate this image, right? Using the same formula we described. So I've gone to flow. Okay. So I hope you guys we have done this Google Flow for a while. So I believe everybody is already conversant with it. So I go to new project. Now I'm going to use Flow to generate the images. And I'm going to use Clang to generate the videos. Okay. So stay with me. We have a so stay with me. Now remember, let me go back to this. Okay. Now you see how I'm going to. Now the very first thing I want to do is to generate the character. And I want the character to be beautiful, right? So I say a beautiful young teenage girl in checkered top school uniform. And purple skirts. Okay, which other features do I want to have it? She had to have. Do I want her to be fair or dark? Okay, let me make her dark. I'll put Nigerian here. She is dark in complexion and wears a braided hair. Okay, a braided hair. Okay. But what else? What other feature do I want her to have? Right. Now that's her. Then remember, so I need to know the short side. So a portrait. Remember this portrait. I need to know this the style. Photorealistic. Okay. Braided hair and small earrings. Okay. She sits in. Let's look at the environment again. She sits in a rusty old painted room. Behind a table lamp is on a table with an old wooden share. So fine, I've described this, right? A photorealistic of a young girl. I've talked about the girl with checkered top, right? School uniform and purple skirt. She's dark in complexion, okay? And wears a braided hair and a small earrings. She sits in a rusty, old painted room. A flickering lamp is on the table with an old wooden chair. So let's send it to Nano Banana and see the image to generate for us. Now, okay. Now that's the image she has generated for us. But you see that the lamp is, I did not describe the environment well. So I will refine this because the lamp can be in the day. You understand? So the light cannot be in the day. I will reuse this. This is what we call about refining, right? It is night, and the only light is okay. Okay. Um, but although that image is bad, but I can also serve as my as a reference image. So I will still use that same image where this day, right? Now this is two images I have of that same girl, right? But it's, you could see the problem with consistency. I like this more than this. You know, the lamp here is looks like Aladdin's lamp, not our local lamp. So I could now take this. So I use the same image now. See what is called anchor, doing anchor points. So I take this one as my anchor, right? So I use that as my anchor. I say image of the girl reading at night on the same desk. The textbook in front of her, right? So what I want to do here is I'm trying to generate my first shot. Let's be in front of her while she writes on the papers in fonts. Now I've added medium shot image photorealistic. I need to add photorealistic because I only have a reference image to that. Okay. Let's see what's generated. Okay. Saying is I should try a different image. Okay. Saying that it doesn't allow image upload of minor. So you're seeing the image as a minor. But you are the one that generated it, so okay, fine. Let's change the image. Let's just refine this first. I will use this. Okay. But instead of saying she sits, I will now say in the nights. Okay. Okay, fine. What I'm doing here is I'm just improving the prompt to get exactly what I want. Okay. You have it's failed to use the reference image. I hope you guys, if you are following me, so that I'm so sure I'm talking to, we can just make, tell me you're following me on the comment section so that I'm so sure that people, you guys are following, you guys are not lost, and I'm not talking to myself. Okay, you see it generating. Okay, this is fine, and I think I prefer this one to everyone here generated. But I will remove it from being a teenager. What I'm going to do is to remove it from being a teenager so that it doesn't tell me it doesn't tell me that I'm using minors, right? Okay. Can see this image generated is beautiful. I like this. And the difference between this I just added is the medium close-up shots, right? Okay. Let's see what it generates again. Let's see the image is generating. Okay, that's another fine one. Right, so we have 2 images. I think I'll use this because that is not going to be telling me that what's it called? I'm dealing with a minor. Okay, fine. What I want to do here with this image is I will now also do a close-up shot of her, showing her frustration. This is my first image. The very first image, the establishing shot. I establish that what? Remember, let's look at the script again. I establish, first of all, that she's in a worn-out desk with scattered books. The next thing she's going to do is what? To violently fling her books, papers, and pen into the air. If she's going to do this, we need to establish that she's frustrated, right? So I will do a close-up shot of her, which I will use to do the frustration shot. Then the third one would be flinging upwards the papers, right? Okay. Let's go to flow again. And I now reference this last image. Referencing that first image for consistency. Reading, her face should show tighten and frustration. Sweat to be visible on her face. White visible on her face. So I have my first shot, which is that first shot. Okay, so we'll send. Now, this is my first shot. It's creating a whole lot of issues. Okay, maybe I need to change the character so that it doesn't land me that it's land me that I'm uploading an image of a minor, right? Okay, so I changed I will use this. I will move school uniform. Um, Make it white top and make her 25. So let's see if we can get away from the image of minors that she keep describing. That's one of the things that's ethical use of AI. AI will not allow you to upload the image of minors, so need to be very careful about that. Because AI have its own guardrails. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay. Maybe I'll now use this. Okay. So I will use the here, I will use the fonts, but I will now change this to the new image that I generated. Okay, fine. I have the second image, right? Showing the girl, the close-up shots of the girl, right? Reading. Now I move to the next one, right? I'll also explain I'll now do the third one, which is the same image of the girl, right? I'll now do top view of the girl. Remember now you could see what I did, top view, top medium shots. You could see why it's important. Girl standing. Table, right? I have done this. This is her frustration where she's reading. This is her frustration. The third shot is where I want, if you look at the third shot, she's going to what? Violently fling her papers and pen into the air. Now, what I want to do is I want to take this action from the top. So I'm going to be looking at her from the top view. And when he flings it up, I will now make the paper and pen to come up to this thing there, to come up to meet the. So let's go on. Okay, so you can see this is what we are describing here. Okay, okay. So moving on. So moving on. Let's go back to flow. That's why I'm doing top view shots of the girl standing and holding peppers. Huh? The peppers that lie on the table. On the table. Of the girl standing in the same room. Let's see what download Banana will generate. I want it from the top view. You could see how I do my anchor prompts by making using that first image as always as my reference image. Okay, fine. Now that's my top view, right? Now, how do I now use that image as my reference image. Okay. And now say within the top view and make the girl fling the book up the air. The book should be in foreground. Now, when I say the book is in foreground, that means the book is being foreground. While, right? Anger. Okay, fine. You can see I've gotten my first shot, second shot, third shot. I'm doing my fourth shot. Okay, wait for it to generate. Okay. Okay. It maintained the top view. It has thrown the book up, right? Fine. So I think you could see I've done 4 prompts and I've generated 40 images that serves. This is scene 1. So I'm done with scene 1. Right? Let's move on to scene 2. Right? Okay, I've also done the paper floats mid air. She looks up, eyes filled with frustration. Student shouts, no. Right? Fine. So I've also done scene 2. Because scene 2 is describes the paper flinging up, right? Now let's move on. Then on screen, a bold stop sign slams the frame, right? Are you prepping for jump the wrong way? All right. Okay. Now I'll take those shots. I can add this shot in post, but I will attempt writing it, waiting that scene with flow too. So I go back to flow. I say retain the top view. And the girl Lord blurred out in the background. Right? So I move on and it generates that for me. Let me see if I can deceive it, but instead of using girl, I use the woman. I think it's down back to the this thing there. So fine. Okay. I think now we are back to the same error. But let's move on to, so I will do that slamming using, I will generate an image to fill up that one. But let's continue. Because we can't work with the last image, but I'll see what I'll do with this, right? Now, next one is the girl slumps into an old wooden chair, sweating, right? Suddenly, so I'll do the next one where he said a rusty wall, old chair, dim light. Do we do a transformation for introducing links to. So I'll move on to the next. Okay. So I use the first image of her reading. And that's the image. I'm saying a middle close up shots of, yeah, long sitting. Now, you will be able to see, I'm trying to make sure that you will be able to see um, things. Remember when I said we don't close up shots, he gave me this. But if I add portrait shots, right? So you need to be able to understand the cinematic language. Your camera, the different camera language. Those are the things that are necessary. If you don't provide them, there will always be mistakes. Okay. Now you could see it's still not giving me what I want. You can see I need to now tweak this. I think it's locked. changing this thing because I don't want the side position. Although I can still use it, but okay. That's the shot I want, right? That's the shot I want. Now the next thing you can see, she looks tired. Now I can reuse the same image. Well, this time I'm going to create a transformation for her where she transforms into a modern environment, right? So I'll take the same image. Of the girl. Modern house with good lights. Now I'm doing the transformation, right? She sits on an office chair and a table in front with nice book, nice wall-mounted bookshelf and flower pots, right? She holds a phone and smiles. Okay, I'll do this. Let's look at the script again. Okay. Here we are landing to, after that scene, should be landing to a scene that has CBT. Okay, so we are going to transform her to this, from this to this. So we have that. So we take that, her new image as a reference image. And say, a close up shot at her phone shows CBT questions um, the phone goes with light, right? And her thumb points at one of the um, answer options, the question options. Okay. Now I think I'll do two more prompts, image prompts, and I will go straight ahead to the video and we'll produce the videos. Okay. Thank you guys for staying with me. We're enjoying it so far. Please also give it a round of applause, make an emotion on that we know that we are still following, that we're not talking to ourselves, right? Okay, it's coming. Okay, okay. Okay. You could see that's the image I want. Okay. I use that same image as a reference. Okay. Then what I'm going to do next is to show her from the back. Since she's showing this to us. Okay. Then and I do over the shoulder shots. Shot of her phone. Her phone. She reads from her phone while the phone screen shows a cartoon image of Einstein teaching physics. Okay. What is shot of her phone? She reads from her phone while the phone screen shows a cartoon image of Einstein teaching physics. Okay. So that handles the okay. I think with that, Okay, I'll do one more. Okay, we have this. I'll need, for a transformation, I want to do a medium shot of her back. Holding the phone. I'll need a shot, a mid shot. I'm going to do a transformation, so I need a mid shot. So that's what I'm trying to go and get of her back. One shot of her back, holding. One shot of her back, holding. Okay. Phone should not be in view. Should not be in view. Okay. That's shot, and we will now go over to Kling and generate all the necessary videos. And I think we'll now have that will be for it for today. Now, what I want to do is I want to start from here, from this image, swing the camera to the next image, then swing the camera again, do an orbit shot again to this. So we'll see how I combine all these things, and you see why I will need this medium shot. Okay. I think I don't like this. I think let me remove. And the last shot I want to do. Remember, you could also be doing this thing in Q. So you could set it up and okay. Front view. Front view. Front view medium shots of the girl smiling. Girl smiling. And showing to the camera her phone screen. Her phone screen should read 328 jump score. Okay. You can see this would have been fine, but there is an issue. The phone is facing backwards. So I will use this. I'm back holding a phone. She watches the screen of uh okay. Okay, fine, we have all the pictures we did now. Okay, now let's go to Blink and let's see how. So I'll now, first of all, the very first thing I do is to download all the images I need, because not all these images is what I need. So the first one is this image. So we download it. Second image is this. I download it too. Third image is this. I download it. The fourth image is this. And I download it. Download the fifth image. Download it. The sixth image. Seventh image. That's the eighth image I need. There's the ninth image. There's the 10th. Okay. I have all the images I need. Now, one of the things you are going to do is to arrange this thing. Go to your downloads. I've just downloaded them onto my downloads, but I'm going to arrange them properly. These are all the images that I've downloaded. So the very first thing you need to do is to create a folder. Um, Call it Lean School Advert folder. Now, inside that advert folder, you create another folder, call it pictures. This helps you arrange everything you are doing. So I go back to downloads. Then I will now move all those images I've generated into that picture folder. So I select all of them and press Ctrl X and go to the folder I've created, which is the Lean School Advert, pictures, paste it there. This helps organize everything you are doing. Extra large icons. So I see all the images I have. Anyone I don't have, I know I don't have it. Okay. Let's go to Cling. All right. Okay. right? Now, let's go to Kling. If you go to Kling, you normally have this interface. So I'll first of all do an image, just an image generation, immediate video generation first. I click this as my start image. Always use this. Remember, this is the school advert. That's where we start, have all these rules. You can also do this thing in view, but I prefer Kling. Kling is my thing. You understand? So if you want to use video to generate, you can. But somehow I like Kling, so you could do the same thing. And I'll show you why I prefer Kling. So this is my start picture. So this is my starting picture. I put it. Now this as my starting picture, I'll now write my video prompt. Remember, this is where everything we have learned so far comes to play, right? Right? So we now say the subject, right? The girl in the picture reads intensely and writes on the paper the lights from the lamp flickers while the camera slowly pushes in. Now, this is what I want at my opening shot, right? Now, this is just 5 seconds. I can add cricket sound, cricket chipping can be heard from the background. Space titles each flicker she hits her hand on the table in frustration. Okay, now let's generate this and see how it looks. I've submitted to this will take a minute. So while that is taking a minute, I will move on to the next, or upload the next one. So that I put it in queue and see how they come up. Adun Bimoyiluwa, you are raising your hand. You could ask the question in the chat session, please. I will come to that. Okay. I think there should be a close-up shot of her face. I don't think I downloaded it. Okay. Let me go back to go and see. That's this image. Now that is downloaded, I take it, add it where it's supposed to be. Okay, saying it has its, maybe I did not find it well. There is the image where she's in frustration. So we have the image now. So I go back to the blink. Why is still creating? So you can see I'm trying to maximize my time by sending another one in queue while the first one is creating. Let's see what it created. Okay, you see, to watch what it's created, right? You can see our frustration. Right. Okay, so I've generated the next one. Girl in the picture reads with increasing frustration and drops the book in anger as the camera pushes in slowly to her face. Okay, we are generating the next one. Our tax is submitted. Now, the next one I'm going to do, I'm going to show a complex shot where I'm going to use the first and the second to show you how it is. So the shot will start here. And the shot will end. Yep. The girl in picture one should fling the pepper into the air, right? and looks up. The camera should dolly out as the pepper lies off from the scene. So you can see this is the second. I'm using two images where she starts from this and she flings it up. And I'm saying that the guy in the picture one should fling this pepper into the air and look up the camera, right? And look up, sorry. The camera should dolly out. Remember, I'm saying dolly out as the pepper flies off from the scene, right? Should be from the screen, okay? Let's play it on the second image and see. Okay. Okay. So we have two images right now. We are showing her frustration. So we are showing her frustration, right? Okay. Let's generate the next 5-second clips that will make this fly out. Now, the next one I'm going to do is going to be a complex shot, right? So I'll show you how to use AI to generate even the prompts that is going to do it. So stay on, this is quite important, right? I'm going to use AI to generate the next prompt because the next prompt is not going to be an easy prompt. Okay, so I'll use AI to generate the next prompt. Now, so I'll upload my next prompt. And after I've done that, I think I will call it a day. We can now see how I've generated this. It's going to be a complex shot. The complex shot is starting from this, right? And I'm going to end. So you can see how I'm ending the shot. I'm telling you how it has sitting. I'm going to transform the whole environment. This is the shot I'm starting from. And I'm ending in this. So you can look at the image from my left. You can see the image of my left. This the environment is different, everything is different. And I'm changing it to the image on my right. So how is it going to be possible? I did not like this. I think I will modify this prompt because she did not throw this thing in anger. She was, and I did not, I'm the one who did not add the emotion to it. So they not actually, so here I'm going to help use a prompt to generate it. So I'm going to write a prompt in ChatGPT for it to generate for me a prompt that will do it for me, right? So I go to ChatGPT and I say, okay, I've prepared the prompt. Create a prompt for a scene transformation. The walls breaking and peeling and transforming into a modern room in the second picture, while the camera will hit around the object. Okay, fine. You could see that's what the prompt I'm saying. Create a prompt for a scene transformation. Scene transformation is important. The wall breaking and peeling and transforming into a modern room in the second picture, while the camera rotates around the object. So if I send it to it, it will generate for me a prompt. I will paste in link. All right. A young African female student in the industry with crack peeling walls, right? Big lamp cars, that's fun. That begins with smooth orbit. Remember, smooth cinematic orbit. Remember the orbit shot we talked about at that time? Through her semicircle to through this. We have mentioned this. As the camera moves, the wall begins to crack into visible structures spreading across the surface. Things peel off the layer, flicking into the air in slow motion. Shots of the wall break apart, floating up. They will dissolve into a glowing pattern of middle air. Then the broken surface is revealed and morphs into a smooth green wall. Right? So I have defined this is the prompt I'm going to copy. So you could see how I use ChatGPT to generate the prompt for the next transformation. The next one is one of the most important one I'm doing. So, right, you see how I think it did not copy it. We also have tried it. That it's good. Understand what I'm saying, doing. Okay. Now this is the prompt I've generated. It's, and this is what I'm transforming this to this. So I generate. Then after that, I generate these things. I'll modify the last one I did, right? Okay. Now generating this last cinematic scene. So while generating it, I can go over to redo this. Okay. So I will edit it. Angrily fling the pepper into the air. With speed and look up. The camera should dolly out fast as pepper flies off the screen. So I generate that one. in. Okay, so let's see. You could see that this one is taking a whole lot of time because it's complex. But I like Flink. I like Flink. Flink can handle this. And I'll attempt this again. You see how, okay, how beautiful it can, what it can generate is. Okay, once we generate this, then I think I will take your questions, and that will be the end of the class. Because we could now have something that we could combine in editing. And when you combine it in editing, you make the coherent story. But this last one, the thematic room transformation, one of the things that is a complex response, and you might not see it anywhere else except this class, right? That's why I'm doing this. I'm making sure that I take these things in different layers of complexity. Okay, so let's look at the image. You see? Wow, isn't that lovely? Now just take this and watch this and see exactly what we are discussing. Watch this. You can see how the room transforms. Okay, that's good. Okay, isn't that a beautiful shot? Isn't this not a beautiful shot? To see what you could do with Clink here. I want to attempt this again, that same shot. So I repeated this one. It has generated. Let's see difference. Okay, you can see this. This is better, right? I can also cut it. Okay. Okay, so I want to do as a final test, I want to test flow with the um, generating a video in flow using exactly that same prompts and see what flow can do. So some of you that have been asking me if that can be done in flow. Okay, let's give flow a try and see what flow can do. So I will start with the two images I used. Okay. Okay, this is the first image, and the second image is a real face. So fine. Let's give flow that same task. This is the same task I got from listen. I'm giving flow that same task. Let's see what flow can do. Okay. So you can compare. That's the highest level of complexity. So for me, I like my workflow. I do my images in flow. Flow gives very good realistic images. And I take it to Kling. Kling is my go-to image generator. I like what it can do. So when I compare, let's do the comparison between that very difficult scene and see if flow versus Kling, which one will do a better video generation. But if you see, we have looked at different complexity, easy ones, 2 images, and a highly cinematic video, right? Where you have background transformation. So then while we wait for that, if you have questions so that we don't take too much of everybody's time. If you have questions, let me go over to the question to the chat box, right? And see your questions. Okay. So is saying, wow, the transmission is so beautiful. Right? Presugola is saying is enjoying the class. Okay, fine. If you have your questions, please. If the flow is done, let's see what flow can do. Right? See why I am. Will you compare what flow between choose one? Cling and flow. Choose one. If you are going for flow or listen, this is flow. Now see the same font, the same images. I'll show you what Clink did. That's why I always say Clink is my guy. This is Clink. This is Clink. And this is Flow. You see why, obviously, I prefer Clink to Flow. Right? So, but that's my personal choice. It's for you to also make your decisions too. Okay, I think it's time for questions. It's time for questions now. Time for questions. Omoto sure is saying, kindly help us on how to download the material on Filmmaking. Please, if you want to download the material, you can always download it from the Link School app. Fine, we can say, please does it better in video generation. Amega Shiru say, please help us find the easiest way to make assignment. The assignment is to help you make. Then Abakaman says, please, let's call it a day. We are going to pray. I'm trying to make sure we call it a day, right? So King is lovelier. Thanks for the training. This there is a name of the app you are using. I said it's Kling. Kling. Okay. The transformation is wonderful. Okay. Please I said Kling. Kling. But people are asking for the name of the app. Okay, please, any other question? If you have any question, ask now. If not, then we can call it a day. By next class, we will now take all the generated videos and combine them for a proper advert, and we will see how the advert looks, right? After we have combined. Do you understand? So maybe at this juncture, please, if there are further questions, there's no further questions. I can't see any questions. We can call it a day. If you have actually enjoyed this class, please give us a round of applause. This is 2 hours, 47 minutes of lectures, and it has not been easy. And I will appreciate every one of you that have been part of the training today. It's not easy to give us 2 hours, 45 minutes of your time. So we appreciate every one of you. You guys are really, really the most valuable members of this, because you can imagine how it will look like if I'm teaching and I'm teaching only myself. It will be very, very demoralizing. So thank you, everyone. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for this class and being with us. You know it's not easy. So thanks so much. Right? You guys have a lovely day and a lovely weekend. Right? So we'll call it a day.
Sitting on and not doing anything, that everybody will go there. No, I gave him time. I gave him time, but it was waste of time. I told him I cannot keep wasting this time with him. So it's better to allow him waste the time all he wants and enjoy it himself. Let me use my life for something better. What's that for this? He paused himself on Azako.